Hi there, Virgos, and welcome to your soulmate reading for the month of November. Take this as it resonates, but this is meant to be watched whenever you're watching it. I'm just happen to be recording in November, so if you're watching in November, great, amazing. If not, then I hope you enjoy it just as much. Um, so, last month I pulled for you the Five of Swords card for your soulmate reading, and I did a short for you. And basically, this Five of Swords energy is really about like what is going on right now when it comes to your connection and what you're looking for in a partner. Okay. And I'm going to read to you this magical action reading, okay? And basically, card number one is a representation of intent. This card is not drawn randomly, but is chosen by the current. It represents what the current wants to achieve. Okay, so what you want to achieve here, and I feel like you're struggling to sort of defend your position in a current connection because I feel like you do feel like you're kind of under attack in a lot of real, you know, like heavy emotional um, situations, like issues, like there's a huge major, I feel like, conflict happening. Okay, and I was just watching this show. I kind of just binge watched the whole show. To be honest, it was so good. Called King and Conqueror, and it's on Amazon. It's a BBC show, and it has the guy who stars, the actor who played Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones, and it has this other actor in it as well, and like both good looking guys, like so definitely not like a hard show to watch. And it's an epic historical drama. It was created by Michael Robert Johnson. It stars James Norton as Harold Godswin and Nikolai Coster-Waldau as William. And it's in 11th century England. King Edward is on the throne, but without an heir. Starting out as allies, Harold Godswin and William, Duke of Normandy, become enemies as they fight for control of the English throne. So it's a really good show to watch. And the show starts out where you're really rooting for both guys because they're like both family men, like they're married. Harold has a wife and two small children. Um, then there's and two brothers, and he lives with his family. Like he has a big family. And then there's William, who he came from. Basically, I think what you call modern day a broken family. He has no mom, he has no dad. He is married now. His wife is pregnant with their first child. Her uncle took William sort of like under his wing, as like a mentor when William was dad died. So, he has a much more like troubled family history, whereas Harold has the love and support of a big family. Um, and I feel like for you, it's kind of like you're kind of sort of like in sort of a situation like that where you're rooting for the best outcome. You're rooting for the hero, but somehow, somewhere, people start to like twist and contort things to make you out to be like someone who's like just actively destroying like a family or something like that when you're like the one who's trying to hold everything together. So it's very interesting. So let's see. Representation of intent. This card is not drawn randomly, but is chosen by the current. It represents what the current wants to achieve. And a magical action reading, okay, this is no different from normal actions. okay? It is often a symbolic representation that is shaped by will and intent, in turn shapes and affects the world. It is a symbol of real action and carries the same burdens and responsibilities, both ethical and facing the consequences of our choices, and in understanding the sacrifices needed by our commitment. So I chose this card intentionally for you, the Five of Swords. So I think what you want to achieve is like some basic like fair ground. Like you're fighting for the survival of your family and your life and your legacy, and even your connection, your love connections, your right to love who you want to love and be with who you want to be with. Like this is it's almost feeling like this is like a lot of like love coming from, yes, soulmate connection, but also love coming from family connection at the same time. So it's like intertwining, and that can be really tense, which is like an understatement, okay? Because it's like, why can't I love who I want to love and still get the respect I know I deserve from my family? You know what I'm saying? It's like if there's something happening really, really, really deep right now. Okay, so let me get into this Five of Swords card. Okay, Virgo. I also feel like you're not afraid to hold back anymore your feelings, even if people are going to view them as negative or as hurtful or as wrong. You're like, you know what? I've seen wrong, sweetie. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I know what wrong is. And there's a difference between speaking the truth and being upfront and honest and seeing what's really going on and talking about it. And then there's just sweeping everything under the rug, acting like everything's fine, everything's normal, and nothing serious is going on when that is not truth. And one of my favorite like iconic mentors, okay, like someone who I think is like really like honest, like brutally honest about things, is Chef Gordon Ramsay. Okay, like I like to cook, I like food, I like cooking shows, I like competition. So competition plus food, that's like an amazing show right there. So I've watched like almost every season of Hell's Kitchen, and Chef Ramsay, he doesn't beat around the bush, okay? And he doesn't sweep things under the rug. He's brutally honest about things. He catches things right on, right away, and he's like, this is a problem, fix it instantly, fix it instantly, fix it. And that's how he has become so successful in his life. So I just feel like for you, you need someone who's like that, or someone who, if you're like that, if you're like a Chef Ramsay type of personality, then you need someone who is understanding of that. Because it's really not your job to like cushion everything and cushion everybody and sugarcoat everything, because I feel like you did do that a lot in your past, Virgo, and it didn't amount to nothing. Like the connections were mostly shallow, mostly superficial. They didn't. You were trying to get deep with them, but they were like telling you, no, stop getting deep with me. And then you were like, okay, I'll just sugarcoat it. It's like, it's fine. It's not a big deal. When really it is a big deal. You want a soulmate connection? It better be deep connection. It better be real. It better be raw. Because if not, you're wasting your time. So, Virgo, I think you already know that, obviously. So, maybe this is something you need to say to a potential partner or someone who's interested in you or someone who wants to be with you. Maybe you just need to be like, you know what? You're not being real with me. You're not being raw with me. You're not being open with me. You're saying things that you know are superficial and shallow, and I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to hear about it. I'm not going to listen to it. I don't know. Okay, so let's get back to the Five of Swords card. An elderly Anglo-Saxon warrior walks away from a burning building. They wear heavily padded armor. Four swords hang on their back. One more has been tucked under their arm. They hear the sounds of Viking villagers cry and scream. They rush around, hoping to put the flame hopping around there, hoping to put the flames out. Another wooden structure's frame lies in tatters. Storm clouds appear in the sky. A rune glows above the fire. The Five of Swords represents the challenges we face in life. Some battles are won while many are lost. The Viking way of life was constantly under threat from other cultures. They worried a lot with the Anglo-Saxons, who would come in and burn their land. Eventually, Viking culture would lose out to the growing European culture that embraced Christianity. Those who did not give their allegiance to the single God would be punished and their livelihood taken away. How we see challenging opportunities can define us as a person. Do you feel you have failed, or will you learn the lesson and strike back stronger than before? The choice is up to you. That's what this is about, okay, Virgos? This Five of Swords card is about you finally standing up for yourself and fighting back, okay? Because I feel like you are being like pushed to the side. You are being told to sugarcoat things, change your ways, adapt, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, evolve, adapt for sure, but not in a way that makes you or forces you to sacrifice what's important to you. Yes, so sacrifices are important, in connections, but it's what you're sacrificing, right? Are you sacrificing your happiness? Are you sacrificing your will to fight? Are you sacrificing defending your honor? Are you sacrificing your spiritual beliefs? The way you learn to love and make and create life and create this whole beautiful world for yourself. Is that what you're being asked to sacrifice by a soulmate? A soulmate should want to create with you. A soulmate should want to love life with you and celebrate life with you. Not constantly destroy, like constantly be negative. Okay, so the keywords here are hollow victory, an imbalanced battle, a haunting past, hostility from others, get ready for a fight. And that's what's happening, right, Virgo? Right now, Virgo, there is a hollow victory. It's like somebody is like being like celebrating like misfortune, celebrating trauma, celebrating tragedy. It's like, ooh, okay, first of all, we don't celebrate tragedy. We don't celebrate trauma, okay? We embrace those that we've loved and those that we've lost in our hearts, and we remember them. We we memorialize them. We honor them. We don't act like nothing's happened. That's disrespectful to to those that we've lost. And I feel like that's where this family love connection is there's a break here, because there's a family that doesn't want to like practice the sacred rituals, or they're like, these are just like your ancestors. Like, they don't even want to act like they ever existed, and they want to constantly act like they're being haunted, right? And like this like haunted existence. It's like, what? Okay, we need to call some Ghostbusters up in here, because like this is insane, right? So hostility from others, get ready for a fight. Now, disappointment, a hard lesson learned, move past the old ways of thinking, avoid difficult situations. Find rune, overcome memories of the past that burden you. Yeah, and the way you overcome these memories of the past that are burdening you is like, write a letter to someone that you love that's passed away. Do a sacred ritual. One of them is like write a letter to a loved one who's passed, and light a white candle, and then burn that letter. And as you're burning it, think of all the good memories you had with that person, all the beautiful times that you spent with them. Think about when you laughed and played together. And this has to do really strongly with like a family member. And I feel like your soulmate like really like respects the hell out of you for even like coming up with this plan, because right now you're dealing with a lot of family members that want to like purposefully stay in this like victim mentality of like, I'm a victim. Okay, I'm a victim. I'm going to hate everybody. I'm going to be nasty to everybody. And you're like, well, there's no room in your heart for love. There's no room in your heart to understand that like going down a dark path, choosing a negative existence, that's what led to this in the first place. Okay, that's the truth. So if you're not going to turn away from that path now, then you're right. All hope is lost for you. You know, obviously, Virgo, you can go on with your life. Yeah, so definitely what I think is happening here is that there is a family dynamic that is making this soulmate connection very tough and difficult to maintain. Okay, so interpreting the runes we have here is a spinning flame that has no focus or direction. Okay, and I think that is really what's happening here is like there is no focus or direction for this soulmate connection. And you can also say like twin flame connection, which is to me is pretty much the same thing. It's like two flames that like, you know, your partner's fiery passionate soul and your fiery passionate soul like intertwining. And like, you know, fire, like I don't know a lot about fire, but like I think there is kind of like some kind of like hidden metaphor here for like a fire does have focus, it does have direction, but it also seems like it's very uncontrolled at the same time. So I think there's like some interesting like hidden meaning there. Hopefully we can find out more about that. So let me see here. Card number 2 is a representation of will. This card and the 2 that follow are drawn randomly after shuffling the deck. It represents the resources the Corn can rely on in order to fuel their action and proceed according to their intent. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle up these cards and we're going to see the representation of will. Whoa. Okay, this card wanted to just fly right out of there. We have the Sun, the most fiery, passionate energy force. You know, the Sun is stronger than is like the epitome of what all the other fire energies and cards bring, right? So this fire, I feel like, is like untamable, uncontrolled, and I feel like you and your person don't need to like control everything, but you guys can still be wild and have fun, but there needs to be a plan, a direction in which you're going. Okay, if there's no direction, I don't know, like I don't know about whatever. But the Sun, this woman is on a chariot. Okay, there's a rainbow behind her, so it's really interesting how there's a rainbow combined with the fiery force, right? Okay, so and the Sun is a star too, right? So there is a huge thing happening right now. I feel like this huge energy force that is really coming out very strongly here for you. Okay, so the Sun, we have the goddess Soul. Okay, this is the goddess Soul, portrayed as a radiant woman, stands in the center of a chariot. Her hair and hands are on fire. The tips of her white dress are also on fire. She does not need weapons, for she is made of flame. She has a wide smile. The chariot itself is made from solid gold. The wheels turn and send out sparks. The rune for Sowillo appears to the left of one wheel. A variant of the same rune is affixed to the base of the chariot in stylized sun design. 2 sleek and fast white stallions named Arvok and Alsvid pull her chariot. Fire burns in their eyes, their manes and their tails as they rush across the sky. Skull, the dark wolf, races close behind, his jaws open wide, ready to take a bite of the Sun. In tarot, the Sun is pure radiance. All the bright and feel-good emotions that go along with feeling warm appear here. You are victorious, and it is time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. There is abundance all around you, and the blessings of luck are on your side. Sol is the perfect goddess to represent the Norse pantheon on the sun card. She is the goddess of the sun and a healer in her own right. In the tales, the sun is feminine while the moon is masculine. She has been there since the creation of the worlds happened. She drives the sun, as seen as a chariot, across the sky to bring light to the lands. The horses who race along the sky are called Elsvin, very fast, and Arvak, early rising. It is said that Skull constantly pursues the sun. Sometimes he gets so close that he can take a bite out of the chariot, which causes an eclipse. Upright, joy, success, renewal, exposure to the good things, take charge of your life. Reversed, being bullied. Losing control, lost in shadows, getting burned out with work, rushing into the moment. Yeah. So obviously there you have it, because I'm like, when is this explanation coming from? Like, why is Virgo being painted as a villain? Why is Virgo being torn apart? Why is Virgo being said, don't stand up for yourself? You have no right to stand up for yourself. And it has to do with this family dynamic. Okay, so maybe it's your soulmate's family. Maybe it's this person that you're dating and considering could be your person, and maybe, just maybe, their family isn't treating you right. And so now you're like, well, I'm not getting treated right by my soulmate's family. Why isn't my soulmate standing up for me? And it's because there's no good excuse for that, okay? But this is their excuse. It's a pretty lame one. They're dealing with trauma, so they feel like they can project their pain of that trauma onto you. Instead of going to therapy, instead of reading some tarot cards, instead of meditating, instead of praying, instead of doing anything healthy. Okay, so obviously this beautiful sun goddess soul is like, enough with the bullying, enough with the offhanded comments, enough with the rude remarks, like, enough is enough already. I feel like she's taken this fire from this, like, destruction of, like, fire is very chaotic, right? So I feel like she's taken control back. And I feel like you've taken control back. And the rainbow is also seen in the Lover's card. And that is like the soulmate card, okay, of the tarot deck. And it's like you've taken control back of this connection. You're like, you know what, I'm riding this chariot now into the sun. Like, and the chariot is really like, think of it as like a captain steering the ship, right? It's the leader position. You're taking the front row, so you're leading your armies into battle now. Like, you're leading your family where it needs to go. You're taking yourself into a place of power. You're claiming your power back. And if your soulmate really is your soulmate, they're going to see this rainbow, and they're going to see you riding this chariot, and they're going to see that as a sign that you are their soulmate and that you know what you're doing. So it's kind of like a test to see where you're at with your person, or where you want to be at with them, and see and go from there. Okay, see how that develops. All right, so the chariot itself is made of gold. The wheels turn and send out sparks. The rune of so below appears on the left, to the left of one wheel. A variant of the same rune is affixed to the base of the chariot in a stylized sun design. Two sleek and fast white stallions named Aardvark and Asmod pull her chariot. I read that part. She's a dark wolf. Her dark wolf skull races close behind. His jaws open wide, ready to take a bite of the sun. Okay? So you really need someone who's like at your level. I mean, you need someone racing with you. You need someone who's wanting to go the distance with you. So in tarot, the sun is pure radiance. All the bright and feel-good emotions that go along with warmth appear here. You are victorious. Okay. I've read that already as well, but I'm just going over some things that I think are really important. Interpreting the runes. So we low. Enjoy the feeling of victory. So we low often takes the form of an S shape. This card includes a secondary design. It is a rune that represents the sun and the fires that help spur us on to victory. This aspect connects to the sun, to the magician card as the will, where the magician directs their energy and manifests it to attain what they desire. In the runic tarot, So We Low is not only within the heart of Euler, it is connected to the bright midday sun in this card. The sun and its solar rays help sustain life for all living creatures. Without it, life dies. Without you, this soulmate connection, there is no soulmate connection. Without you in this family, there is no family. And when you've experienced a loss of a family member, everyone is going to be feeling like there is no life, right? But what's interesting here is that, like, you, even if you're not physically present in your family anymore and no longer in your soul, your spirit has moved on, you still want to be remembered. You still want people to go visit your grave or mourn you or celebrate you, but in healthy ways. Obviously, this is easier said than done when you are in a family dynamic where they're not very spiritual beings, where they're very, I can't even, I'm sorry. When they just instead go into a negative space and they start projecting negativity on you. Let's just put it that way, because we could go on and on all day about how disrespectful people are and how they project onto others. But we're not going to do that for the sake of this time in this reading. Okay, Virgos. And rainbows represent love and hope. So you are hopeful, okay, here. You are feeling loved here in a true, honest love connection. And both you and your person are feeling each other's passionate, fiery, creative sides. Okay, you're not feeling anger, you're not feeling destruction. Yes, technically fire destroys things, but it needs to destroy the negativity, okay? It needs to destroy the bullies, okay? The element of fire there really's got to step up. So I see you taking control back here of your life, okay? And you are allowed to be in control of your life, right? There's a huge thing where, like, I'm feeling like people are saying, like, you can't control others. And we're not talking about controlling other people. We're talking about taking your power back of your own life and control over your life and your happiness, and not letting it rest on the shoulders or the backs of other people because they want to be disrespectful, right? And they want to be negative and they want to be rude. And you're like, okay, well, you're the one acting that way. So you're choosing that. I want to tell you. Okay. All right, so moving from the sun energy, now we're going to go and move into actually, wait, hold on. I want to read you this last part. The sun and its solar rays help sustain life for all living creatures. Okay, and without it, life dies. Okay, so I really feel like that, again, just emphasizing like that you are an essential part to your soulmate's life. You are essential part to your family's lives, and just don't forget that, because I think it really is important for you to remember that at this time, Virgo, especially with you dealing with what you're dealing with, right? Like what kind of situation you're like finding yourself in. Okay, and then we have representation of sacrifice. It represents the understanding that in order to gain something, something must be surrendered. Letting go can be as much as important as to grasp. And I think that's another thing that's like really what's holding this soulmate connection in such a very tense, like negative space is like your person, and no one is asking you to like let go of remembering the family member that you loved. Nobody is asking you to let go of like the people in your lives who matter, who are important to you, and forget about them. But the thing is like these certain people are like purposefully like using the energy of like death almost as like a weapon to have excuses for being nasty and negative. That is like, you're not doing the loved one who died any service by doing that and acting that way. And you're not doing any service to the ones still living either. So you can't let trauma and tragedy like dictate how you treat people. Okay? You have to choose that when there is great loss, when there is great suffering, you rise above it and you don't let it control you in a negative way. You don't let it control you and take you to dark places. You move through it. You go through it with the best of intentions, with the most thought out, like strong, loving, kind, devoted plan. And I think to some people that comes naturally. It's like you don't have to really think about it. It just comes naturally to you. You're a healer. The sun is a healer. But to others who don't have this sun energy, right, who rather be bullying people and rather be negative towards people and nasty towards people, they just don't have it in them. So it's hard to sort of navigate a connection, a romantic connection around that. But here you are trying, Virgo. So kudos to you. So here's your next card. We have the Knight of Pentacles. Ooh, some hottie. Bringing in some money. Actually, I don't know this guy's face. But, yeah. I don't know. But, for the sake of a love reading, let's just say, like, this is usually, like, some good-looking guy. Maybe not on horseback. I don't know where you live. Maybe he does ride a horse. I don't know. But, has a nice car. At least has a car. I'm sorry, but this guy that you're trying to be with doesn't even have a car. Like, okay, it's one thing if his car is, like, getting worked on or, like, he, that's one thing, okay? Or he's in the middle of buying and purchasing a car, something like that. Like, okay, I get that. But if he doesn't even try to have a car or try to have money to transport himself, like, what are you doing, bruh? Okay? So, Knight of Pentacles, okay? So, I feel like this is going to be a card about standards. Okay. Let's see. Knight of Pentacles. It depends on his age too. Like, obviously, not everyone is going to have a car. But if you're like in your 30s and you don't have money to transport yourself in like an Uber or something or whatever, oh my God, good Lord, have mercy. Okay. So, Knight of Shields. A Viking warrior sits on top of a mighty black horse. They wear dark armor, have their hair carefully tied back and out of their face. They hold onto the reins with one hand, and the other holds a well-oiled shield. The pair pauses in a valley, looking for guidance and direction on their path. A bind rune is in the lower left corner, appearing near the horse's front legs. The Knight of Shields moves through the world at a slow pace. They may not be the fastest warrior in the clans, but they are the most observant. This Viking takes their time. They move slowly through unknown territory, making sure every area is secure and free from danger. They have trained just like any other warrior in the clan. They know when to strike and when to stealth, and this gives them the ability to succeed and aid in the perfection of their quest. Upright, take caution, pause, and enjoy the journey. Build security first. Have patience, be present. Reverse, routine, movement, strong motivation, rush into situations, lack of confidence. Vine rune. Vine rune, enjoy what you do as long as it brings happiness. Elemental attributions: earth, natural power, roots, origin, sense of identity. Fire, creative power, outer strength, passions, and desires. Again, fire. So, and then you have the earth, the natural power, roots, origin, sense of identity. And this really does, it's like two elements at once. It's the element of family dynamic that you're struggling to say, you know what, like, I'm not going to lose myself in this family dynamic just because you all lost yourselves and you don't know how to heal properly. You're not healing. You're not even in the stage of healing. And it's really like, you can't, like, obviously, if you can't get them to heal, if you can't convince them to heal, even though you're a healer, this probably has a little bit to do with the fact that you're not like, you know, I think it has a lot to do with maybe like your identity. Like, if you're a woman watching this and you come from a family of like a lot of misogynistic, toxic masculinity, that could be a reason why they're not listening to you. I also think it could be because you have this beautiful like energy, life force within you that's able to adapt, able to evolve. That's the only way to true survival and true enlightenment, true life. It all goes hand in hand. The only way to live a beautiful existence and a beautiful life is to be willing to evolve, be willing to transform your life. And what does fire do? It transforms us. It burns away the old and makes room for the new. And, you know, people, family members coming up to you because you're a woman and saying, oh, why don't you have another child? Make sure this time it's a boy, after they just lost a boy child, right? Okay, that is completely and totally insane. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to act like it's fine. It's not fine. It's extremely, not only is it extremely disrespectful to you, but it's extremely out of touch with reality. Okay, and I'm a spiritual person. I'm a soulful person, but I gotta draw the line in the sand somewhere. Like, I gotta say no somewhere to how crazy and insensitive that is to you. Okay, so Virgo, I don't know if that applies to you, but I was just watching this tarot reading the other day, and like the woman reading the tarot, she was very like blunt and very straightforward, and that is something I'm trying to try doing more. So I'm practicing. So sorry if that, doesn't, resonate with you directly, but I think it is something that you've had to go through in your life, where people just keep saying like super insensitive things to you. And it's like, okay, like, I don't know where you're coming from with that, but I just gotta let you know that's extremely disrespectful. It's extremely insensitive. It's extremely rude. And also, I really hate how like certain family members are like trying to almost like monopolize death, almost monopolize trauma. And it's like, stop. That's exactly what you're not supposed to do. Or they're trying to monopolize someone's memory based on their own personal memories, when everyone had their own connections, everyone had their own personal memories, everyone had their own personal relationship. So that's the truth. So collectively, like, it's not just one person matters, it's everyone matters. And I feel like that's the biggest struggle that you're having right now. And with your soulmate needs to be somebody who can be stealthy and who can observe and who can really like absorb the information coming to them and really take time to process it. And I feel like if that's not your soulmate, then that's an energy that maybe you're incorporating and you've been incorporating in your life, and you've been like really like, how do I say it? Like, you've been really taking your time with how you are going to stand up to these people, okay? Because if your soulmate isn't doing it for you, I feel like it's time for you to do it for yourself. And your soulmate can stand right beside you and defend your honor and agree with you and respect you, or they can get lost and then the connection can be over, done with. You got what you needed out of that. Goodbye. Have fun. You know? So, yeah, I mean, because that's what soulmate connections really are, is they're lessons on how we need to learn to love ourselves, how we treat others, and seeing that reflect through a partnership is really a truly great experience. But it also can be a very painful experience, and it can go from a very pleasurable experience to a very painful experience. But it's still like the universe's way of saying, like, well, you wanted to be in love. Like, here you go. And you're like, yay, I'm in love. And, you know, you celebrate and you get the rings and you plan the wedding and you tell your family, whatever. You know, you go through the, you know, procedure, the right steps, the right process. But then life and death, right? Life happens. We're happy. You know, having children, you know, creating a home together, creating beautiful memories together. But then there's the other side, right? Which is death and the loss of loved ones, the loss of family members, sickness, you know, the loss of a job, the loss of money, like loss of a car. That sucks too. Like, and obviously some losses are more severe than others, but your partner still wants to be by your side and you still want to help each other. So, you know, and if you're not like, you know, you're never going to be like fully prepared to deal with things. I think that's the like ironic truth about like, you know, soulmate connections is like, you're never really truly prepared for what lessons you are going to go through with your person, with your soulmate. But how your soulmate reacts, how you react determines not who your person is, in a sense, but it's like really who you are in a sense. So if your person can't handle life and death in healthy ways, and they're not willing to learn and evolve and grow and learn how to heal and learn how to process things in healthy ways, it's really, 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 really not good. I'll just put it that way. It's not good for the connection. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. So, yeah, but that's the sacrifice, right? It's like sometimes you do need to sacrifice and let go of the trauma part, of the tragedy part, of the devastation of the loss. And how you deal with it and how you do that is really going to be what determines how the connection moves forward. So, yeah, and don't put it all on, like, don't put it all on your partner to, like, if they're the ones dealing with the loss and the tragedy, it's more personal to them, then don't put it all on them to change their ways. Like, yes, encourage them to, like, practice more healthy, you know, ways of living, but definitely don't like anticipate it, you know what I'm saying, or don't like think it's gonna happen, right? Instead, do it for yourself. Just do it for yourself, because I feel like that's more important than trying to convince them to do it, honestly, because I don't think there's no point in trying to convince people. I think there's more of a point of you just expressing how you feel and then waiting to see what happens next. I think there's something more healthier in that. Representation of consequences. It represents how the situation may evolve and change, and it points out the responsibilities of the querent for the good and the bad. As a symbolic act, the querent may carve or draw the runes he finds in the cards in order to connect with greater depth with his own intent, to channel his own will, to accept the sacrifice, and to face the consequences of their actions. Okay, we've got the Nine of Horns. So it actually looks like these Vikings are like in a bar, and they're all having a drink, and then there's a woman. Oh, this could be the Great Hall of Valhalla. This could be a Valkyrie, and she's holding a tray of horns, because that's where the fallen Vikings go, the fallen soldiers that like deemed like worthy. They fought well, they fought brave, and feel like maybe they determined the outcome of the battle or had something to do with that. So they get chosen to go into the Great Hall. So in Valhalla, which is like heaven for Vikings. Okay. So again, I feel like this is a huge indication that definitely, and also I feel like maybe there's something to do with the fact that like this person, this family member who's fallen, they've died, they passed away, their soul like lived on, their spirit lives on, they fought well, they fought bravely, and I feel like you see that and you respect that and you honor that, but I just don't think anyone else is doing that. I think they're all viewing this at like this person as like weak or vulnerable or like but I also think they preyed on this person's weaknesses and vulnerabilities too. Like we all have vulnerabilities. Like we all have things that like we need help handling in life. But that's what the soulmate connection is for, right? That's what your person is for, to help with that. Not push it aside, sweep it under the rug, however you want to metaphorically explain it, and not even pay any mind or attention to it. So let's see this Nine of Cups. Okay. Nine of Horns, Nine of Cups. All right, so Nine of Horns. Viking warriors sit at a fancy tables in a hall. Okay. Two of them take deep swigs from their drinking horns. A third warrior sits in the background with their horn in hand. A Valkyrie holds 6 more horns full of mead. They make their way through the drinking hall of Valhalla to assist the rest of the warriors chosen by Odin to serve at his side on the day Ragnarok happens. Life is good. It's time to celebrate and display your trophies. The Nine of Horns allows you the emotional space to share all the achievements you've made in life. Take out those awards, bring out your best stories, and share them with those you love. Boast about it, all, and know that you worked hard to earn the position you face yourself in. In the runic tarot, the sense of fulfillment comes after a mortal lifestyle. Valhalla gives the fallen a chance to shine and share. This is the afterlife. Vikings desire to be taken to Odin's hall to be in service to him until the end of days. Upright. You have done well. Enjoy this moment. Being a part of the community. Be proud of your achievements. Let the sun shine. Reverse. Disappointment. Feeling exposed. Hidden lies. Imposter syndrome. Reveal dark secrets. Find room. Do your best no matter the circumstances. Interpreting the runes. Soul means researching greater satisfaction and happiness. And look, Soul, the sun goddess. So, and she's obviously bringing happiness, the rainbow. Hello, love and light. So this is really like a good reading, Virgo, and it really does incorporate the parts of yourself where you're like, how can you possibly be told you're a villain and you're a bad person when you're standing up for yourself, when you're defending yourself, when you're fighting for what you believe in, when you're fighting for your life. Okay? These other energies, these other people, they're not fighting for their lives. They're really not. Like, I feel like they've already given up. And this is like, I'm not talking about people who fall ill and can't control that. This is not like and don't have the right support and the right help. No, I'm talking about people who have all the resources they need to fight for survival, and their family just like they just abandon them. They don't treat them right. And I don't know. It gets complicated from there. But all I want to say is like you have earned your place in Valhalla, okay? Like you've earned the respect and love that you fought really hard. You have been fighting really hard. And I don't think you're like dying or anything, Virgo, but I just think that you have felt maybe in a spiritual sense that you've been dying, because there's the literal and then there's like the metaphorical spiritual aspect. And for the sake of this reading, it's all like you have felt like you're dying inside. Okay, you have felt that people have been trying to make you feel less and less and less and less every single day since this family member's death. And I feel like at first maybe they didn't intentionally mean to do it, because they're dealing with a lot, so it's just like that's what happens naturally. But after a time, it's like become apparent to you that it is now intentional, and you're like, you know what, F that, I'm done. And you're gonna be like, no, I'm burning that all down. So yeah. But your soulmate obviously has to have respect for you. They obviously have to fight for you. They obviously have to defend your honor and stand up for you. They can't be defending other women. I don't care what their relation is with that person. Doesn't matter. They still should be defending your honor. If they want a soulmate connection with you, if they want to make you feel good about yourself, if they want to spend time with you, then they need to actually defend you and love you and respect you. So, I think, Virgo, at the end of the day, you have all the love and light in your life that you need to continue down a beautiful spiritual path. Find a person that loves you, respects the hell out of you, and if this family situation doesn't heal itself, and you have exhausted all options, then don't feel guilty or feel bad about choosing yourself and separating yourself from these people. And the same applies for a soulmate connection. So it's interesting that both are happening at the same time, but I think that's like a little bit of a reflection of where you're at versus where everyone else is at, right? Everyone else is still stuck in being victims of trauma and tragedy and acting out in that way. And if anything I've learned in life, that is not how you heal. That is not how you live your life, in honor of the person who's passed, in honor of yourself, in honor of your family, in honor of your soulmate. That is not how you live your life. So Virgo, I do advise, I'm not advising you from like a legal point. I'm not advising you from a psychology licensed therapist point, just as another human being in the world that's experienced these dynamics. I advise you to just keep choosing you, keep choosing yourself, keep choosing your happiness, keep choosing your light, keep choosing the love that you have for yourself, that you've created for yourself, because you have already been through a lot prior to this connection, prior to this family. You have been on your own. You have experienced trauma. You have experienced difficulty. You've been through it. And if there's anything that I've learned in life, which I keep saying this, but it's true, is that you just don't give up on your life and your happiness. Keep fighting for it. If that means you have to part ways with this very negative, hurtful group of bullies that are toxic AF to you, then do it. If they really want you in their lives, if they really want to admit their wrongdoings, they will make an effort. If not, then that's on them, their loss. And the same for this connection, this love soulmate connection. If this person really wants to be with you, they're going to try. They're going to try. They're not going to keep putting it on your shoulders, on your back, on your plate to keep putting in effort, keep learning new ways of making them happy, keep changing to make them that feel better. No, you are perfect just the way you are, Virgos. There's nothing you need to change to make them happy. If there's anything you want to change, that make that decision based off of your own desires, not their desires. Okay. So that's what I have for you. And definitely, if you want to watch the show King and Conqueror, definitely check it out. It's a really good show. So that's what I have for you. Love and light always. Thanks for watching. Bye.